Hi, guys, and welcome to Behind the Streams, a podcast all about gaming, streaming, and streamer man does whatever a streamer man can.
Yes.
That
Oh my
was a
sweet
top off my head.
Jesus.
I literally had to think of something just
You've
like
done
that, and
well,
there we go.
man. You've
That's
done
what we
well.
got.
So,
Hey,
what are you on about?
well, you're going to find out. We're literally going to find out right now because we have a new guest. Not only do we have a new guest, we have a complete new entry to the Behind the Streams community, if you will. I've literally been hyped for this since a couple of weeks.
Yeah, majorly. So, our recent follower, Spiderman4aCause, take the show, bro. Take it. Here he is.
Right.
How's it going, guys? Definitely a pleasure to be here.
So,
Mate,
before we start, though, man, what the costume in the wash?
Believe it or not, the costume is in the wash. I had a event yesterday with a fellow streamer where we did 2 miles every hour for 6 hours. So
Wow.
it was due for a wash. Yeah.
Don't blame me, man. So I'm not, me or Tone haven't got our Spider-Man costumes on, or Venom. That'd been cool.
Well, I did say I wanted to be Dr. Octopus and have the whole get up, like literally like pipes coming out of everywhere, like
The goggles, yeah, do it. That'd been cool. So, man, I think a good place to start is why Spider-Man?
Honestly, I went for Spider-Man because I wanted something that was going to be familiar to people.
Okay.
Spider-Man seemed like that superhero that everybody pretty much loved and liked, and something that primarily catered towards the kids. Because my whole goal was to help out children in the hospital. So I wanted to pick something, especially when you're on a budget, you can't buy too many costumes at once.
Yeah.
Something that was going to kind of hit the heart.
No, that's fair. That's a great answer.
that is literally one of the best answers we've had, like immediately off the bat. It was just so on point.
Because
Kudos to you, mate. Yeah.
So for those who don't know, what we normally do is when we get a guest on, is I send a lot of questions prior to the interview, just basically like a little list of things that we want to talk about. But I have been missing in action, not fighting crime, but I've been missing in action, and so I was like, literally, as I just met Spidey, we was like, okay, this is what we're going to ask. So apologies, Spidey.
But no, that was bang on. Yeah.
So, why did you start on Twitch? What drew you to Twitch?
So believe it or not, I did Twitch many years ago, but I only did it for a couple of months. Got into a car accident and then had to stop. I recently came back in November because I ended up getting COVID.
Oh, wow.
And I was restricted. It was Thanksgiving. It was my birthday, and I was very sad and depressed. And the one thing that's always helped me was doing charity events. But with COVID, I'm not able to do hospital visits. I'm not able to go out there and do my events. So I really had to think outside the box. I truly try to follow. The only limits you have are the ones you set for yourself. So I ended up going through, and I was just like, you know what? I'm going to try out Twitch. So I went on Twitch, and I was like, what can you do where you're away from the world, but you can still be presented to the world? And so I was just like, you know what? Let me give this a whirl. Let me give this a shot. I was like, I love charity. I love getting people involved. I'm going to try to see if I can stream it. And from there, it just kind of took off. I became a variety streamer, just kind of chit-chatting, playing video games, and kind of letting people know what I'm about. I've been doing charity for years, as Spider-Man and a few other things. And this one right here definitely took it to another level. So I'm pretty happy with the results. I'm pretty happy with the things I've been able to do through the stream. And most importantly, just spreading the awareness for the charity events that I truly believe in my heart are, need a lot of attention.
That is amazing. As I said, so pretty much it was the charity work that came first. So then the kind of Twitch side of it was like a way to kind of do it in these kind of trying times and what we have to kind of restrictions we have in place. I think it goes back to like really early when we said like about how there's so many different avenues you can go down on Twitch. And that's one of the things that drew us all together is like, its possibilities endless right there, isn't it? And it just shows you there.
Well, I think with you, because you mentioned COVID, I think with COVID, it sort of set a bar where everybody was stopped doing what they normally do. And the people had, as you said, had to think outside the box. That's why me and Tony started this show.
Yeah.
So it's just, as bad as it is, it's created a lot of good different avenues that people can go down and do it. So do you have any charities in particular you like to donate to? Because you mentioned many times that you like charity, you do charity work.
Yeah, so the primary one, my foundation is based off of the Bring It Up childhood cancer awareness, trying to let people know about the the effects of it, how it's affecting our children. And unfortunately, a lot of the chemo treatments and stuff that's going on are like 30 years old. I am a father of a cancer survivor from many years ago. Shortly after I came back from one of my deployments, I was, given the very terrifying news 6 months later that my daughter had cancer. So essentially,
Wow.
I went from one war zone to another. And for me, being a military guy, I'm used to being out there with people in the field. But when you come into a pediatric setting, it takes it to a whole nother level. But I've been pretty blessed because it opened up my eyes to a world that I knew was there,
Mm.
but I didn't realize how much of an impact it was having on people. And it wasn't until I walked those steps that I truly come to realize how much attention it needs. And for me, right now, our current campaign is called Be the Match. Be the Match is a nonprofit organization that's helped save over 100,000 lives. And the way they do it is they end up getting people registered for free. And this is in the states. There's counterparts in the UK and Spain and the Canada, where they get people with healthy blood stem cells and bone marrow, and they put them into a registry database. And you get somebody, say for instance, that has leukemia. You get a 6-year-old little girl. We had a case, and this 6-year-old little girl has done chemo, radiation, done everything they can to try to help save her life. But and then doctors come in and tell the families, like, I'm sorry, we've done everything we can. The only thing that's going to ultimately help your daughter have a cure is to find a bone marrow match, blood stem cell match. And then that comes Be the Match. So they go into the registry and they try to see who matches up. Now, unfortunately, a lot of people believe that if you have a brother or sister, you can
Mhm.
match up and you're good to go. But unfortunately, that's only 30% of the time. 70% of
Oh
the time, the
wow.
person's not going to match up with their own family. Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that.
So,
Most of the time, the people that get their life saved are from complete strangers. And so this is where we come in. We come in to spread awareness to let people know, like, hey, you can make that difference. You can, like, 10 minutes of your time just to register can make a difference in a family's life. You can be a miracle in somebody's life. If just look into it, register, and if they give you a call, you always have the choice to say, hey, you know what, I really don't want to do it
mm.
after all, but they'll give you details. And the best thing about this program is there's no out of pocket expenses. So say for instance you had to travel 2 hours away, 3 hours away, they're going to pay for it. If
Okay.
you and of course, with something like this, it's very scary because it's just like you're going into an environment you're not used to. So they pay for one person to go with you as well as a moral support. And they'll pay for your lodging if lodging is needed. If you have dogs, they'll pay for the kennel. If you have kids, they'll pay for childcare, because their primary goal is to help you and to help the patient in bringing a life, finding a cure and to bringing a miracle ultimately. And so definitely trying to get a lot more people on board when it comes to the bone marrow registry. If you ever get a chance, definitely YouTube it. You'll be surprised what you find out there,
Mm.
and some of the remarkable stories that are just incredible on just the selflessness of what people who had no idea, this person in, say, California, ended up almost dying, but this person from the UK decided to register. And now, because of this person with a great heart from the UK, this little boy in California, United States, is able to live a full life.
So, so it's
Wow.
worldwide. So,
Yeah.
well, so US and Europe. Do you say they have other centers?
Yeah, so they essentially have a world database. And then within the countries, they have their own organizations, but they're all tied together. And so you'll find, as you look through, you'll find people even from Germany helping people in the United States, people from Canada helping people in the UK. And so it's all globally connected in this one giant database. But every country has its own little individual
Mm.
organizations.
Was it Be a
That,
Match? Did you say?
And so for the one for the US is Be the Match. Be the
Right.
Match. And if you were to look into bone marrow registries in your country, you'll be able to find the one that's counterpart to that. And they all communicate with each other, which I find fascinating
Mm.
because, this day and age, with us coming together, you'll be surprised how many organizations still don't communicate with one another that can help change many lives.
I can
God, that has
imagine.
totally opened my eyes, as I said, because at the moment you started talking
Mhm.
about the international side of it, because obviously, like, donor, what do you call it, of organs and things like that is kind of a topic that has not been discussed so much, but it's now
Mm.
creeping in to be like, we need to talk about this, obviously, because I know, like, as a standard thing on like driver's license and stuff over here, you can tick, do I want to be like a donor of my organs and
Mm.
stuff? And I was like, yeah, obviously, because but it's something that I feel like a lot of people need to talk about more, because it is a case of like the amount of lives that can be saved just through a small registration, as you said, or even just kind of applying to find what more is about. So the international thing I think is great. As I said, it's not just regional based, so you can help people across the world. That's absolutely amazing. It's mad. So thank you for like sharing that. That's the man. We'll definitely put some links somewhere so you can check it out.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Wow.
so
I'm speechless. Sorry, man.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah, no, and it truly is like for me, I'm a military man. So, I joined the military to help people. My whole goal is just to continue to try to bring, as much good as possible. And I follow by the quote where it says, evil prevails when good people fail to act. And it's just the reality of it. There's a lot of bad out there, and sometimes they come in the form of a person, and sometimes they come in the form of disease. And this is where, teamwork makes the dream work, even though that's cliche, but it's true. Come together, we help each other out. There may be something that you need that, we become pals, we become mates, and heck, you know what? I got just the person for you, or I got just the equipment for you. It's through these communications of just finding our what we have in common in the little things, such as needing a bone marrow that can help just change everything in the world. It's sort of like that ripple effect. People just got to ask themselves, are you willing to be that pebble to throw into the pond of life to start that ripple effect of change to try to make a difference?
wow. Yeah, that's it. That's all it is, man. It's like kind of the community side of it is just like mind blowing. Yeah. So what a story, people. What a way to start, isn't it?
That's hit deep.
Oh wow. As I said, yeah. I'm completely blown away. This is the first time I've actually got speechless at an interview kind of thing. Yeah.
So
Go on, mate.
you mentioned about your daughter. I'm sorry to hear that. Is she all good now? Is she?
Yeah, so we went through a year of chemo, surgeries, everything that pretty much cancer brings. I don't wish that even on my worst. I don't have any enemies, but if I did, I wouldn't wish that on them. It's one of the things that's the worst thing to do. I thought going to war was bad, but the worst thing for me in my experience that can happen is when it's a loved one that needs your help and you're not able to do anything about it. That's the worst feeling in the world, worst thing to see. So, but I go by many things in my life that help build the foundation of who I become and who I am today. And that is, you can either just go through it or you can grow through it. You can become bigger and better because of it, or you can just let it kind of circle you around and, let it just kind of eat you up inside. It's just like with anything in life, if that happens to you, that's negative. And, I was very blessed that my daughter got better. It was a battle. And there was a point where we did run out of options, and it was only a liver transplant that was going to save her. But it's one of those situations where the doctors present to you like, hey, we did everything we can. The cancer's shrinking, but the only way we're going to be able to help her is truly become cured is to get a liver, because the chemo that she's taking is so powerful. And this is the thing that's terrible about the chemo treatments that they have nowadays. When they administer these chemo treatments to children, they have to wear hazmat suits on some of them. And there was this chemo treatment my daughter had to take. It's over 30 years old, and it's very surprising that they still give this after all the technological advancements that we have. And it is so powerful that if it were to land on your skin, it would give you third-degree burns in a matter of hours if it stayed on your skin. And this is what they administer to the children. And a lot of people don't know that. They have to wear hazmat suits. Hazmat suits. Think about that for a minute. In order to administer something into your child's body. And so, going through this and learning about it the hard way, it was just mind-blowing for me. And the side effects of it all, it's going to be long term. So even though you see the statistics on child, cancers, just say, yeah, the survival rate is great. Well, that's the initial stages. What people don't see is the fact that those chemos and the treatments that they get, they end up getting cancer because of them. And then they die. And those are the numbers that they're not really sharing as often. And so for my daughter, she can only take this chemo because it's so toxic for so long that she was going to have to stop because it was going to put too much strain on her heart. And so they're like, but if we stop it, which I think we had like maybe one more dose we can do over a year course, then the cancer is going to come back because it was a very aggressive cancer and it's going to end up eventually taking her. And so they said a liver transplant was the only way. Now, here's the part that's just like gut wrenching. So, we're talking to them. They're like, yeah, the best chance for your daughter to survive is to receive a liver from a child. And so in my mind, I'm thinking, so if I pray about this, I'm essentially asking that somebody else's child die so that mine may live. And so it's
Wow.
very torn. It really breaks you apart because it's just like you want your child to live, you want them to have the best chance of survival. But at the same time, you don't want anything bad to happen to anybody else's kid, right? It's like, how do you pray about something like that? How do you process that? How do you continue in your day-to-day routines with that in the back of your head, having to wait for a phone call that's going to come that's, it may be joyous, but at the same time, you know somebody else lost their child. It's very very grilling to the heart.
I have
Absolutely.
never thought about that.
No, that's
Like the
it.
fact with the
Just as
transplant.
like as I said, a donator side of it, you don't think of the other side, obviously, because if it's happening to you, you're thinking just right. As you said, you're praying that the match comes in, but you're not thinking about the other person, and it's just like, yeah, like I think that's why the kind of organ donation thing needs to be talked about a lot more. This needs
Definitely.
to be a thing that is like from registering whatever, like as soon as you reach, like 18, 16 or whatever, like it should be just a general thing. Because I know, as I said over here, it is when you get a driver's license, you can opt for that option, and then it's automatically goes through the system, kind of thing. But yeah,
I feel like you shouldn't have to opt in,
no, it should just be a standard thing,
and
that
then you
gets
have to
applied,
opt
right?
out
Yeah,
if you do
yeah.
not want to donate your organs and such, because as you mentioned, like how much good it can do.
Yeah, as I said, it shouldn't even really be an option, kind of thing. Because, like, for example, if someone becomes available due to like no fault of their own, like that option could save someone else, opposed to going to nothing. You know what I mean? I know it sounds horrible because like a lot of people have religious beliefs and stuff, and that's why they don't do it, etc. But the big overall reality we're talking here is you could save someone else. Do it. It's that
Why
simple,
wouldn't
right?
you?
It should be, yeah. But as I said, you've opened our eyes to a whole other world of it. I wouldn't even consider that. You know what I mean? Because I know a few people that have had like donor things. Like, as you said, you automatically think it's a family thing.
Yeah.
With like liver transplants, you think, oh, automatically like a parent or so and so could do it, but it's not always the case, kind of thing. And I guess it's even rarer. And I said, like, was it bone marrow? You say in it, and blood plasma.
Yeah, so yeah, it's even rarer. It's only 30% of the time that they'll match a relative. That means 70% of the time they're not going to be a match.
That's what I mean.
That's
As I
a
said,
crazy
yeah,
high percentage.
yeah, yeah.
Means you need like 7 kids. No, 10 kids. That's insane. That really is.
Yeah, and
Oh,
that's where we get these situations where I think the premise is oh well, we'll just call on cousins and brothers and sisters and uncles and all that stuff, and it's just like the odds are against you. You
Man,
get that's where these Be the Match and these other organizations that bless their heart, they've come together, they've done the research, they've realized what's going on, and they're making an effort to try to get as many people registered as possible because you never know when it's going to end up happening to you. I mean, for me and my daughter, for instance, I came home, like I served my time. I was done with war. I was done being gone from my family for numerous periods of time, and I was going to school, and I had plans, and the summer was coming, and I was planning my daughter's birthday. Never in my wildest nightmares would I ever think that I would, instead of planning my daughter's birthday, I was trying to plan her survival. It's just, you never know what life's going to throw at you. You really don't. So some of the charity events that you do today, or some of the charity events that you support today, may be the ones that end up ultimately saving your child's life, or maybe a loved one's life later on.
I think it's really good that the fact, obviously, it's sad what happens, your daughter getting it, but you've grown from it and you wanted to help more others more so. It's obviously very close to your heart. And you've taken it onto Twitch and you wanted to reach as many people as possible and raise awareness, and it's great. It really is.
as I said, yeah, like you could just see the reality of it. And I said, our charity streams are helping. It is like, it's a revenue. When I first started stuff, I would never have thought of that being used that way. You know what I mean? But it's obviously when you start on Streamlabs and stuff, there's a lot of donation tabs and stuff. And it's becoming more and more clear that I think, is it the British Heart Foundation?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're doing stuff.
A stream charity thing as well. And I started seeing these things popping up and stuff, but to hear it firsthand from yourself kind of thing is like amazing. You know what I mean? How this is a medium you know. And I
Yes.
said,
Yeah, I mean,
was it possible to ask how long you've actually been streaming for as well?
yeah, no, since November. I
Is
just been
that
streaming
it?
since November.
Wow.
Yeah, and like I said, I've been very blessed. I'm a variety streamer with my foundation core being, of course, charity. But trust me, if I wasn't in the military, I'd be doing charity all the time.
Yeah.
But it's a very demanding job at times. So the times that I'm able to stream, I'll play video games, I'll chat, talk about mental health. People have questions. My whole goal is just try to build a community of positivity and ultimately, support in the charity. With anything that comes in through whether it's a donation, a sub, I just put it towards as you can see, some of the costumes I got, I put it towards the charity. And I try to for this one right here for Be the Match, I try to get an organization that helps the cancer community, especially the children. That's going to not cause anything for anyone. That's in particular why I chose it. Because it's just one of those things during the COVID times. It's just, some people are more tight on cash, and that's okay. Even if people just spread awareness or look into it, or just kind of, hey, talk to a friend about it, that's priceless in itself, because it goes back to the ripple effect. That little you know conversation that you have with somebody may go to someone else that may be able to make a donation or may be able to donate or register or something like that, but that ripple effect can never start unless somebody initiates it.
Absolutely. And I said, even us having this interview now is like so crazy in my mind how this has all come together. And I've learned so much, literally not even in like how long we've been going for, like, and it's, yeah, like, well, 21 minutes we've been going for, but it's like, yeah, how much I've learned already through that. And this whole kind of colliding of stuff just happens to be at this moment right now. It's mind-blowing, dude. It's mind-blowing. I think we're safe to say, Josh, innit, that you are our new favorite superhero. Like,
Yeah. 100%.
that's the first statement to say, man. Yeah.
Oh
No,
man.
I appreciate you guys giving me a platform. That's
Mate,
one of the best things I go for is just what I can spread. And for me, I was never one for cameras or anything, but I started doing different charity events back in 2013 as soon as my daughter got better. And for me, I never wanted the spotlight. I never wanted people to know who I was. I just wanted people to know my cause. I wanted people to know the charities. And well, a lot of people kept telling me, they're like, well, you have an amazing story, you have to share it, you have to let people know where you come from so people can truly understand what you're going for. And once I accepted that, because I was more of a private person years
Yeah.
ago, but once I accepted that, I realized I was able to resonate with people more, and especially those that have gone through it before. Because sometimes when you go through these paths, you can feel alone. You can feel like nobody really understands, and I think that's one of the worst feelings in the world, whatever tragedies or hardships you face in life. And so when you get somebody that stands up and it's like, hey, I've been there, I've carried that cross, I've gone down that path, and I got to let you know you're not alone. Can mean the world to somebody.
Is there a charity, going on from what you just said, is there a charity for parents who have lost children due to XYZ? Do you know? Because obviously that's that must be a very lonely time.
Yeah, there's certain nonprofits out there that have started for that. How should I say? What they do is they get grieving parents together.
Yeah, that's
And they
what.
help them cope, right? And they really do. They have a lot of social medias out there in which they come together and they chat and they have forums and stuff
That's
like
good.
that. Because it really is a psychological rift in your heart, in your mind, in your world. That unfortunately, we do have to go on. You have to carry on. You have to go to your job. You have to make money. You have to support the rest of your family. And for some reason, for some people, they can't do it. They can't, and I don't blame them one bit. I do not blame them one bit. It's just one of those things that you really have to find the why, because when you have a child in particular, that is one of your major whys in life, and you have to sort of rediscover what is it that's going to keep you going. It doesn't get easy when you lose somebody.
No.
It really doesn't. People say time heals all. It doesn't. You just learn how to cope with it. You really do. You just learn how to cope with it. And there's moments in which, for me, and this is something else of why I chose Spider-Man, is when I first wanted to give back, I was just like, I wanted to be a superhero. But the reality was I suffered traumatic memories from when my daughter went to the hospital. seeing things that no father should ever see their daughter go through. And, moments in which, when I first told my daughter and just like, hey, you have cancer, and your daughter looks at you, you're supposed to be the protector, and says, Dad, am I going to die? And you have no idea what to say. You're lost for words. You just hug them and say it's going to be okay. But in reality, you're scared out of your mind. You have no idea what's going to happen. But, you put on a brave face and you go forward. And so for me, reliving those whenever I walk into the hospital was very tough. But my why for me to keep pushing forward through all of that was the fact that I wanted to do more. I wanted to give back. And so Spider-Man wearing the mask helped cover my fear. It helped hide my tears. So when I started going through it and I started seeing these children, I let that be my focus of what is greater than the pain, was bringing hope to those that are currently going through it. And that eventually became bigger than what I went through. That became my new why for me.
Wow. As I said, man, like kudos to you.
Yeah,
So kind of, as I
hats
said,
off.
you're going through it, and yet most people would be so heavily involved in like their own feelings, but you're going, I need to do more. I need to help others because I know exactly what it's like, kind of thing. And all I can say is, good on you, man. I'm wow. You know what I mean? Like I am speechless. I very rarely get like this, but yeah, the story is just mind blowing, and I'm really grateful that we could share this and you could kind of talk about it in depth more. You know what I mean? It's mind blowing.
It must be a weird statement, but are you looking forward to being able to go back to the hospitals to bring the children joy? It's a weird question.
No, yeah, no, I definitely do, because with COVID we had to stop. So
Yeah.
I still do charity events. I have my Instagram. I'm sure people will see. I still have my stuff that I still do with other nonprofit organizations. And then hopefully, we can go back to the hospitals. Every state is different. So with my state in California, they're very restrictive, which is
Okay.
understandable.
Yeah.
And so we just got to wait. But yeah, I look forward to it. It's what helps me. It helps me to know that, I can try to bring a little bit of happiness. And, seeing the kids that I've been able to visit before in the past, it's truly remarkable. I've been very blessed to serve in the military with some very brave men and women. But I got to tell you, through all my travels from Africa to Europe to the Middle East, I've never met anyone as brave as the children in the hospital. Because you see, these are kids that they've never experienced life yet. They don't know, what exactly is going on. And you can explain to them like, hey, this is what you're going to receive, but they have no, it's not there for them to really understand it.
They're
But
kids.
but somehow I see these kids go through what they're going through, and some of them have these tubes, and they're still smiling. They still find. There was this little girl that I visited as Spider-Man. She can only move one arm, and she saw me, and she was ecstatic, just moving that one little arm. And for a brief moment, when you look into their eyes, the tubes and the hospital just kind of goes away. And that in itself is the joy of it all. It's beautiful. And if you're able to bring that kind of beauty to a situation like that, then why not? What's holding you back?
True. Very true, mate. As I said, like, yeah, down to a T, mate.
Man,
Yeah,
that has blown me away.
yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Honestly,
It's just like it's crazy good what you're doing. As I said, in terms of like stream, do you have any kind of goals or aims currently in that leading off to the charity? Is there anything that you could go, I would like to get, like, have this, like, what's the word I'm trying to say? Like, is there a kind of something that you could happen to you via this Twitch platform that will align with your own personal goals in life? Maybe.
I mean, if I can make it full time, that'll be awesome for when I retire. I retire in about 3 years from the military. Then I'm going to be making my charities full time for myself. So if I can make Twitch one of those situations where I can add to the cause, that'll be remarkable. It'll be incredible. My goal is to take Spider-Man for a cause on trails and treks, and just continue to promote these different charity events we do. Because if you want extraordinary results, you got to do extraordinary things. A guy climbing up a mountain just by himself with no costume of any kind or flag, okay, cool. There's a guy climbing up a mountain. But once you put a costume on him, once you give him a flag, you do something that's out of the ordinary, then people want to know what makes that guy so extraordinary. What's going on? What's the cause? What's the purpose? What is going on behind that? And that's when, they ask the question,
Yeah.
and then you give the answer, and then it's up to them if they want to, do the research or add or help or, continue the ripple effect. It's all about that ripple effect.
Yeah, as I said, it's all way of like kind of connecting with each other and it kind of expanding from one thing to another. I want to quickly breach on one we talked about before, is your 24-hour treadmill charity. Like, because as I said, when we were a couple of weeks back, we were kind of going live, and then you come up and said that, and we were like, in my mind, I was like, I need to know a bit more of the mechanics of this. So, how did that go? And was that like a kind of brief moment where you're like, oh, this is something I can do, and then reality sets in, and is like, oh wow, I'm going to be on a treadmill for 24 hours. Like,
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Especially anybody that knows me knows that in my mind it always sounds good, and I'm just like, I'll train for it. I'm just like, yeah, let's do it, all pumped up. But once you get like 6 hours into an event like that, you're like, what the heck was I thinking? It's just the reality of it. I've done before I did the treadmill, I did last September for Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month. I ended up going around in a circle at a park because it was COVID, so I had to do it primarily on my own, with just a little small support staff for a little boy who had cancer, and we raised some funds for him. And so I knew I can do the 24-hour thing. It's just there's a process of a mental state that you have to just kind of prepare yourself for. You have to accept, because when you get to that point where your body's just like, okay, I am done, and it's gonna. I don't care how strong you are. You can be the strongest Iron Man, crazy superhero power, whatever that you want, but there's going to come a point where your mind's going to want to shut down. There's going to come a point where you're going to end up wanting to just stop. And it's at that point that your why has to truly take over. That flame of wanting to get more. Like, what is that purpose? I think it was Mark Twain said it best: the two greatest moments in a person's life, the day they were born and the day they find out why. And that why can change, with how life goes. And so when you end up finding that why, and it becomes greater than the pain, greater than wanting to give up, greater than whatever it is that you're currently facing at that time, and in my case, the 24 hours, then that's able to fuel you. That's able to propel you. It's like a rocket ship that's getting ready to go. There's a point in which you hit that atmosphere where you need that extra thrust to get past. And then once you're into space and you're good, well, that's what happens in the 24-hour event. You get to that point around the 12-hour mark or whatever, where you need that extra thrust. And that's when you remember why you're doing what you're doing, and you push forward. And then once you get into space, it's just kind of like, okay, I got this. You're moving forward. Sort of like Super Saiyan. Once you get that Super Saiyan, then you're good,
When that adrenaline kicks in, as you said, yeah, and it's just like, and then it's said like the cause is even more focused than anything, and as I said, your body can it's amazing what you can achieve, as I said, that your body can go through, innit? It's
definitely feel that, because I've only recently done my first ever 24-hour stream, and there was a period when, so it's about 8 hours into the night, so I started at 9 o'clock, so about 3 a.m 4 a.m, and I was struggling hard, and I was like, I got to just get through this period, and I did, and yeah, the rest of it was easy. It was fun, and raised money for charities. So it was great. But yeah, no man, but when you said 24 hours, because when you say 24 hours on the treadmill, I watched a clip, and it's not just you walking or like jogging or whatnot. You're interacting with the chat, and I'm like, how are you doing that while on the treadmill, bro?
Yeah, so so check it out. Believe it or not, I was supposed to have somebody else there, and it was a fellow military personnel, and I had it set up where I was going to be on the treadmill, and they're going to be interacting like in this seat here, right? But unfortunately, they went skiing, snowboarding, and they hurt their back. So I got a call like at 10 o'clock at night, like, what was it, like 9 hours before the event, and they're like, hey, I'm not, I can make it, but I'm hurt. I'll just pop a lot of pills. And in my mind, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna make you suffer anymore. I was just like, you volunteered, you're not able to make it. It is what it is. Stuff happens. I do appreciate it though. And so you just, you have to sort of like, okay, here's a situation. What do you got? Do what you can when you can with what you got. And so when I did the setup, I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to do it all now. and we'll see what happens. And I'm sure if you I don't know if you've seen the clip where there was moments in which I tripped or fell, and there was a moment in which my shoe came off, and and yeah, so it's just it's one of those situations where it's like, you kind of just go with the flow. You focus on what it is you're there for, because sometimes it can be frustrating, but your mind's a powerful tool. It can work with you or against you, but it's up to you ultimately. So I just looked at it just like, okay, well, guess what? This is going to be even more so awesome because now I get to control everything. And since it's the first time I'm ever doing this kind of event in which it's on a treadmill, I'm going to be able to learn so much from it. So the next time I do it, I'm going to do even better.
So there's a next time.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
This is just beginning. My next event is going to be a 4448. I don't know if you ever heard of David Goggins. So David Goggins is a crazy former Navy SEAL fitness guru, really straight in your face type of thing, and he started this thing called 4448. It's going 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours. And my buddy sent it over to me, and he's just like, "What do you think about this?" And I was like, "Sure, why not?"
Yeah.
Oh man, that sounds intense. You prepped
Yeah.
when is that?
So that's supposed to be the end of May, beginning of June. I'm still trying to. So I have to take leave in order for me to get approval to be absent certain days. So if that gets approved, we'll determine on where I go. So
Right.
I have an event, a military one, where I'm going to be going up. It's called Cow's Mountain. It's only like 1.5 miles up, but it's a pretty challenging little trek going up. And for me, I'm going to dress up as Spider-Man, and I'm going to go up there, and I'm going to do. It's called a re-enlistment that we do. It's essentially you're redoing your contract to extend even more. So that's going to take me into my retirement, but for me, it's just like when I dress up as Spider-Man and I go out to these trails, these treks, these mountains, I do these 24-hour events. That's what separates me from everyone else, to get the question asked, why do you do it? And that is where I get the ripple effect to start, because I let them know about the charities. I let them know about children fighting cancer, about Be the Match. And, that's what's going to end up helping me overall in spreading the awareness.
I can promise you this: you've created a ripple over here.
Absolutely, mate. Like that, there's like no going back from that now. It's like, yeah, it's crazy. Like how, again, I've kind of mentioned like how this is all aligned to this moment right now that we're all talking, kind of thing. Like, is it? How did you actually find us switching as well? Because that is one thing I want. Because again, talking about the ripple effect, it's the very thing in streaming world, isn't it, of how people connect with one another. Was there anything particular that made this line happen?
For this interview here.
And the one, when we first met.
Yeah,
on
you
our
see-
one, yeah.
Oh yeah. So like for me, so what I do is I end up going through and I go to, I guess I call it stream surfing.
Cool.
And I go through and I just try to see and connect with people that sort of have uniqueness and different, and because I'm sure you see, some people play games all the time, and there's some games I do like and I follow and I interact and become friends. And but my primary goal is to find people that are a little bit out of the ordinary. And so when I saw your guys's and I saw the interview on one of your guys's previous ones and I saw the setup, I was like, this is really cool. I like this.
Nice.
And so I was just like, you know what, let me check these guys out. And I like what you guys were putting out there. I believe in how you just an open dialogue. And I really felt the good vibes. So I was just like, these are definitely some people I want to get to know.
Oh, thank you, man.
Brilliant, mate.
It's
Yeah, that's great to hear.
It's nice to get to know you, Spider, in your story. It really is. So, what games do you end up playing? Because you said I think I saw it was a clip. Was it Dead by Daylight? Possibly not.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Oh, it was.
Dead by Daylight. So I got a few friends of mine. We all started at the same time, and we Dead by Daylight, Phasmophobia.
Oh,
So we play a variety of like horror games and whatnot. So they're really good friends, and we chit chat, we goof around. We had a co-stream all together where we did like little pranks on each other, I guess you can say, and overall just kind of having a good time, And I don't know if you guys ever hear of Bean Boozle.
Bean Boozle. No.
Boozle.
Yeah, so Bean Boozle, it is the devil. So it's just, let me see if I can grab it here. My head. So Bean Boozle is a jelly bean game, right? In which you end up getting a choice by a little spinning wheel of, say, for instance, getting a bean that can be either chocolate or it can be dog food.
Lovely.
And so you won't know until you try it though. And so that's the whole fun part about it. So I'm still learning all about streaming and whatnot. And so I was just like, you know what? I saw somebody do it. How bad can it be? So I was just like, I put it on there, give it a whirl. Well, what I didn't realize is there's a lot of my good friends and a lot of people that had me on lurk mode. And so they accumulated a bunch of these points and they all decided to hit. This was during my
Ooh.
24-hour event. They decided to how should I say, kind of get me at once. So here I am, you know.
Oh no.
you know, talk about it's one thing going 24 hours on a treadmill. It's another thing when you have a bad taste in your mouth, right?
No, that is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, but and that's the beauty of streaming though. You create these different things that kind of add more of an adventure to it and have fun to it. It's what makes life interesting. It brings laughter, and they say laughter is the language of the soul. So
Absolutely, yeah. It's just crazy the amount of things you can do on here as well that made me want to, like I said with Josh, to start his podcast, just to see every avenue of what can be achieved. It's been a great journey so far, man. And
Really
every time we
has.
learn a bit more.
And I've just read in chat that Ding Dong It's Me said that he was one of them who made you.
Oh.
Oh yeah, ding dong.
And thank you for the follow.
Oh, thanks, mate. Appreciate that, yeah.
Yep, it definitely, and that's what I love about the community, is the fact that I'm just some guy in Southern California, and I've made friends from people in Canada, Europe, across the nation. And when I did this event for the Be the Match and for bone marrow, we got people that were registered we got multiple people registered in the UK, Switzerland, Canada, and something I never imagined could happen. My thing was just I wanted to get out there, I wanted to make a difference. And when it came to streaming, I just wanted to see how far I can take it. I really didn't have much expectation, but the community of the Twitch, of the people, and they're just honestly just great hearts, has truly blown me away. People look at me and they're like, "Oh man, you're doing some great things," but I'm like, "No, I'm only here because of you guys. I only able to do what I do because you're here supporting me. So thank you all. Thank you. You guys are great."
Oh,
Madness,
that's
madness. Yeah, as I said, this has been one of the most influential ones we're gonna
definitely
have, I can
100%.
imagine. You know what I mean? It's just been from start to like finish, man. It's been like great what's the word I'm thinking of? Admiration. Like, yeah, just like
Yeah.
all the stuff that you're doing and how you've taken all these bad things that have happened to you and just like not like just got bogged down on them. You're more like, right, we're gonna absolutely make this better for people. And oh yeah, I'm blown away, man. Yeah, it's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
So as I said, I think it's safe to say that you're our favorite superhero now.
Yeah.
What is your favorite Spider-Man? And are you a Marvel fan?
Yes, I am definitely a Marvel fan. And as you visit children, and God bless them all, some of them will interrogate you. there is a little brother or sister in the side of in the hospital bed that comes up to you. You're not really Spider-Man, and it's just like they'll ask you, they'll grill you. They'll be like, "Okay, who's your wife? Okay, when did you get married?" It's just like, "What's your real name?" And I'm like, I'm like, wow, kid, where'd you get all these questions from?
Just like a stack of comics going through it, like maybe Spider-Man #4. Excuse me, actually, what is it in this one?
And issue 33, you said you were a vegan, but I saw you eat meat.
Oh man,
that's brilliant. I bet you do get a bit of a testing on that. Yeah.
Well, kids ask the most random questions as well. So when they obviously like Spider-Man, they see Spider-Man walking in, they're like, "Hold on a minute, you're not
what?
Spider-Man," or "Oh my god, it's Spider-Man." Oh, so
yeah,
cute.
and I've been blessed because I've loved Spider-Man for a very long time, and I've read the comic books, and I got to understand the character and the hardship that he's been through, and that's what really attracted me when I was a young person. And so when they do grill me, I had this one kid, I kid you not, he was just like, "You're not Spider-Man." He probably asked me a good 20 questions.
Damn.
And kids can be fast,
Yeah.
because they're just like, "Hey," and I'm just like, "Whoa." It's like, "Where's your mom?" But I answered him. I answered every single question. And even though I thought I was just like, okay, well, he doesn't believe, but at least this other kid believes.
Yeah.
And as I walked away, this kid turns around and says, "I love you, Spider-Man." And it just melted my heart.
I bet.
It just,
Mate.
what I mean? Moments like that, because, there's just, there's a point in which a child comes where they do start to understand reality and
Mhm.
what's real and what's not. And so when you're able to bring them back to that childhood mindset, it's really awesome. It's really cool.
Sweet. That's brilliant, man. Also,
See?
do you have a favorite villain?
Ooh, a favorite villain. So, I don't think I really do have much of a favorite villain. As
Doctor
much.
Octopus.
Well, I would really have to say probably Venom.
Yeah.
Venom
Venom.
would
Yeah,
probably be
he's
the
so good.
one
Yeah.
because with many of the story arcs that Venom has come from, you come to find there is a struggle between him and the symbiote in many occasions. And I think that's sort of the same thing with us in life. We all have a certain symbiote that sort of wants to do the things we shouldn't do, and
Yep.
we're constantly fighting that. And I can relate to that. I can see that struggle with him, and I can also see the fact that he's not happy because he looks at Spider-Man and he's just like, this darn Peter Parker guy. He doesn't have as much power as I do, but he's still able to defeat me. And it just keeps
Mm.
going, 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 not giving up.
Absolutely. Wow. Yeah. That's awesome. That's a good answer, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. So what? Tone, it was one for you as well, bro. This is
Yeah.
an
Go for
open
it.
question. Favorite Spider-Man, right? So what you got? Andrew Garfield, Tom
Mm.
Holland, and Tobey
Ooh.
Maguire, and Spidey, right here. I think
Yeah, I'm
Spidey's
gonna
my
go for
favourite
Spidey right
one.
here, man.
But them three, what ones?
In terms of the films, in it, yeah. I like Toby Maguire. I'll stick with the
Yeah,
OG. Yeah, yeah,
I like Tom Holland. I,
yeah.
I,
Tom
I
was
just feel
good.
I've liked them all. What about you,
Yeah.
Spidey?
I have to say Garfield. I think Garfield really
Mm,
nailed it when it comes to the personality of who Spider-Man was. Because one thing that Spider-Man is, especially when he's out there fighting crime, is he's a talker. He
yeah.
annoys the crap out of his villains. And I think Garfield nailed that in his humor and delivery of the personality when he was in costume. I think he was perfect for that role.
Very good point. Yeah, nice, nice. Just seen Jarvis, Toby for me as well. Yeah, he's the OG man.
Toby's good. The films were, but
Yeah, yeah. The only thing with Toby is just I feel like it was forced. It wasn't like a good flow
Yeah,
to
true.
it. He's more of a monotone type of thing.
yeah.
And don't get me wrong, he's definitely the OG of the Spidey community when it
Mm.
comes to
Mm.
the cinema. But he just didn't. For me, it just didn't have that flow, that Spidey flow.
With Andrew,
Yeah,
yeah, it did feel like he was a Spider, yeah. But then I feel with Tom Holland, he's great, but I want to see Spider-Man films. He's great in the ensemble cast and everything, but Spider-Man is Spider-Man. And I'll just say the film. I mean, it broke my heart. What was the second film when Rhino comes out at the end?
Oh my
And I
gosh,
was
that
like,
was
what have they
awesome.
done to him? What have they done? My childhood broken. Man, is there anything else you want to add, man?
No, I think that's about it. I mean, it's been definitely a pleasure, and
Man,
the only thing I can just tell people is just find your why. We all got it, and sometimes it just takes a little bit longer to dig in, and you don't have to go through hardship to figure out what your why is. And I think the mistake many of us make, and I'm guilty of this many a times, is the fact that we try to wait for the perfect timing to go for those goals in life, to go for those moments of trying to make a difference and trying to do something a little bit bigger than ourselves. But we all have a superpower, each one of us, and it's called willpower. Are you willing to go out there and if you see somebody that looks nice, give them a compliment? That small little compliment can make a world of a difference in their life. Are you willing to go out there and maybe if somebody needs some help and it's going to be out of your way, but you take just 5 minutes, just kind of go out of your way to help that person, start that ripple effect of change that essentially is going to end up, just changing their life in a way that you may never see. And that's okay. That's the beauty of it. You may never ever see it, but if you can plant the seeds of goodness, then eventually you will get a forest.
Outstanding. That's all I can
Yeah.
say, man. It's been, like as I said, a pleasure, absolute pleasure at this end. You've opened my eyes to a lot of stuff that I wasn't actually really familiar with. You know what I mean? Just like, but that's what it's talking. You got to get talking, ain't you, man? That's
That is it. Keep
So
speaking.
thank you incredibly from this end, yeah, and from our.
Yeah, thank you, Spidey. It's been an absolute pleasure.
As I said, we're going to put links in everywhere, and we'll promote your channels and stuff as much as possible because this is a message that needs hearing. Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah.
No, it's been a blessing. It's been an honor, and I look forward to seeing more of your guys' streams.
Bless
Oh,
you.
man, thank you.
Bless you.
Should we sign off there, Mr. Tone?
Yeah, I'm cool with that. As I said, until next week.
Yes.
We'll see you guys later. Take care. Bye bye.
Take it easy, people. Bye bye.